It is Thursday the 23rd of August 2018. Well, it's been another Brexit news day where the government has belatedly published a load of papers about what Britain can expect from a hard Brexit. I think the argument goes that the government's trying to use these papers to scare everybody in the Conservative Party who believe in a hard Brexit into supporting Theresa May's rather squished up Chequers deal. And they're also sort of trying to, there's a suggestion that the government's trying to put pressure on the EU by saying, well, yes, we'll go it alone if necessary. I think the EU will just sit back and say, well, in this relationship, the EU are by far the most powerful. So if you want to go off like that, then do so. It will be at Britain's expense, less so at Europe's. But it really does highlight the absurd situation that the country now is in, where we are having to effectively put ourselves in some kind of peacetime Dunkirk situation where we are under siege, although we put ourselves in a position of being under siege, where we're having to stockpile medicines and food. It is absolutely ludicrous that we are in this situation now, and I'm really lost for words as to how we as a nation have managed to lose our way and get into this mess that we are in now. It is unbelievable. And you know, I speak as a Remainer. I've always made that clear. I believe that Britain's influence in the world is magnified by being in the EU, and I believe that as a smaller nation, we're not the great power that we used to be. We are a smaller nation compared to China and America and so on. We are better off being in the EU, and now the government is scrabbling around telling us all how much worse off we're going to be if the European Union doesn't come to an agreement with us and gives us the rights to being a member of the club whilst having walked away from the club. And it's I'm lost for words as to how Britain has got into such an utterly ludicrous situation. There's only there are two possible outcomes now that I can foresee. I don't think the Chequers deal will survive. And if Britain was being completely honest about it, the two scenarios are either we have a hard Brexit or we stay within the European Union. There's no middle ground, and I think we are kidding ourselves if we can have a fantastic deal with the EU, which is as good as what we have now, and all the freedoms that come with being a so-called independent sovereign nation. The real world, that's the real world. That's the two scenarios that we're facing now. And the only way to resolve this, because I don't think Parliament can resolve it, is that this issue has to go back to the people, and they decide now, do you actually want to go ahead with a hard Brexit, or do you want to stay within the EU? And whether or not we actually get that depends on a number of factors. Firstly, whether the think the government is actually prepared to support it. And secondly, to some extent, it's whether Labour are prepared to support it. And I think lots in the Labour Party, lots of people do support having a referendum on it, which is a choice between hard Brexit and remaining in the EU. But that useless idiot that they have leading them, Jeremy Corbyn, is the roadblock that is preventing Labour from actually coming off the fence and playing a real part in this whole debate. So, what a mess, what a pickle we're in, and hardly surprising that the people of this country are just wanting it to be resolved in some way.